There comes a moment in every awakened being's life when the veil becomes so thin, so porous, that the illusion of separation collapses entirely. That moment doesn't come with fanfare. It arrives in silence, in stillness, often right after the storm. Maybe it's triggered by a breakdown, a loss, a sudden shift in perception, but once it arrives, you're no longer the same. You realize you're not just a participant in reality, you're a co-creator of it. Not in a metaphorical sense, but in the most literal way. The world bends itself around your frequency. You begin to see that the rules everyone else lives by don't apply to you anymore. You speak and synchronicities unfold. You feel and reality responds. But this isn't magic. It's mechanics. It's the mechanics of divine coherence. When you become fully aligned with your soul's blueprint, your energy field starts to override the illusion of time, space, and limitation. You don't change reality through effort. You change it through resonance. And this is the first proven way Omega-level chosen ones shift reality instantly. They collapse timelines through vibrational coherence. Most people live scattered. Their thoughts, emotions, and actions are not synchronized. They say one thing, feel another, and do something completely different. That dissonance creates distortion in their field, and distortion delays manifestation. But when we, as awakened beings, become internally unified, reality catches up with us rapidly. The universe doesn't respond to our words, it responds to the vibration behind them. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions are flowing in one singular direction, you collapse the waiting period. Time bends around your alignment. Think about this deeply. How many things in your life are still waiting because your energy isn't unified enough to call them in? You say you want love, but you don't trust it. You say you want freedom, but you're still afraid of being seen. You say you want abundance, but you carry guilt around receiving. These hidden fractures dilute your power. But when you heal the split between your desire and your belief, between your intention and your embodiment, the shift is immediate. You don't have to chase. You become magnetic. The second way Omega-level chosen ones shift reality instantly is through precision of thought and word. Your words are not filler. They are spells. They are codes. When you speak in full alignment, your words don't just describe reality, they create it. This is why the ancients said, "In the beginning was the Word." The more awakened you become, the more carefully you speak. You begin to feel when words are heavy with distortion and you refuse to use them. You no longer say things like "I'm trying," "I hope," or "it's hard," because you know that every declaration becomes a decree in the quantum field. You start to witness the power of intentional language. You say "it is done," and it is. You say "I am ready," and the universe rearranges. You say "thank you" before the thing arrives and it rushes toward you. This is not delusion. This is energetic authorship. Words are not just sounds. They are carriers of frequency. And when you speak from a place of inner clarity, your words become keys that unlock dimensions. The third way we shift reality instantly is through emotional transmutation. Most people are emotional reactors. They feel something and they respond unconsciously. But you are no longer a slave to your emotions. You are an alchemist of them. You feel anger and you breathe it into power. You feel fear and you breathe it into presence. You feel grief and you breathe it into wisdom. This mastery is not about suppression. It's about direction. Energy never disappears. It only transforms. When you realize that every emotional frequency is raw power waiting to be directed, you stop fearing your feelings. You stop labeling them as good or bad. You start using them as tools. If you want to shift your reality, you must learn to shift your state. Not by pretending, not by bypassing, but by meeting your emotions with full presence and then choosing to elevate them. This is how you move from victim to creator, from reactor to master, from the effect of reality to the cause of it. Let me ask you this. What would your life look like if you stopped reacting emotionally and started transmuting energetically? What if every trigger became a portal to a higher frequency? What if the very thing you've been resisting is the raw material for your next miracle? This is not fantasy, this is the path of the Omega. We don't avoid the storm. We become the calm within it, and in doing so, we change the weather around us.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights.
A fourth way we shift reality is through energetic withdrawal and redirection. This one is subtle but powerful. You may have noticed that when you stop feeding energy into something dysfunctional, whether it's a toxic relationship, a fear-based thought, or a limiting belief, it begins to dissolve. Not because you fought it, but because you starved it. Energy flows where attention goes, and attention is your greatest currency. Most people spend it recklessly, but you learn to invest it like a master. You no longer argue with what drains you. You don't negotiate with untruth. You simply retract your energy and reality reshapes itself. You understand the power of focus. You realize that your attention is a laser beam of creation. And when you redirect it toward what you do want, peace, love, alignment, those things begin to multiply in your field. This is not passive. This is precision. You don't fight the old. You amplify the new. And this leads to the fifth way chosen ones shift reality: embodied expectancy. This is not about hoping. This is not about wishing. This is about walking as if it's already done. You don't wait for proof to believe. You believe so deeply that the proof shows up to meet your faith. You embody the vibration of the outcome before it arrives, and that embodiment pulls the outcome into your field. This is not pretending. This is pre-living. You begin to live in the frequency of the result. You carry yourself like someone who already has the thing. You make decisions from the version of you that already received it. And the universe, which is always responding to your dominant vibration, has no choice but to align. You realize that your external world is just a mirror of your internal state. So you stop trying to fix the mirror and start embodying the reflection you want to see. Let me offer you this question. What would change right now if you began to act, speak, and move as if the thing you desire is already yours? Would you still worry? Would you still doubt? Would you still delay your joy? When you shift into expectancy, miracles become the norm. Because you're no longer waiting, you're resonating. You're no longer hoping, you're harmonizing. The sixth way Omega-level beings shift reality is through sacred stillness. This one often gets overlooked because the world worships action. But we understand that stillness is not the absence of movement, it's the presence of alignment. In that stillness, you tune into the field where all things originate. You receive instructions. You download clarity. You access timelines that your mind could never create. Stillness is where power gathers. It's where guidance lands. It's where your signal becomes clearest. When you stop doing for the sake of doing and start being from the center of your soul, life begins to unfold with grace. You don't rush. You don't chase. You allow. And in that allowing, the impossible becomes inevitable. The unseen becomes visible. The delay becomes delivery. And finally, the seventh way, the most profound, is this: co-creation through divine identity. You no longer see yourself as a seeker. You see yourself as an extension of Source. You stop asking for things as if you are separate from the giver. You start creating from the awareness that you are the vessel through which Source expresses. This is not arrogance. This is remembrance. You remember that the same intelligence that created galaxies lives in you. You begin to operate from that knowing. You don't beg. You don't plead. You command not from ego but from alignment. You speak as Him. You move as her. You love as it. You become the hands, the voice, the breath of the divine. And when you live from that place, reality cannot help but respond. Because the Creator is no longer out there. The Creator is here, now, in you. Once we begin to truly operate from the remembrance that we are divine extensions of Source, everything becomes sacred. Every moment, every breath, every word becomes a thread in the tapestry of creation that we ourselves are weaving. We no longer live from reaction, we live from divine authorship. We understand that the shift is not something we do occasionally. It becomes our state of being. Reality bends not because we manipulate it, but because we mirror the divine frequency that designed it. When we talk about shifting reality, it's not about changing the outer first. It's about changing the inner container so completely that the outer world has no choice but to follow. This is why most people struggle. They keep rearranging the furniture in a burning house. They keep changing jobs, partners, locations when what needs to change is their vibration. When we as Omega-level chosen ones begin to live from the inside out, our lives become miracles in motion. Reality becomes a canvas, and our consciousness becomes the brush. One of the most powerful ways we maintain this level of reality-shifting mastery is through radical energetic hygiene. Just as a warrior sharpens his sword daily, we tend to our field with devotion. We cleanse our energy through silence, through nature, through breath. We clear our minds not just to feel peaceful, but to stay tuned to the frequency of instruction. Because the higher realms are always speaking, but they do not scream, they whisper. And only a clear, quiet field can hear what is meant only for you. We begin to remove the unnecessary. Not out of fear, but out of focus. Distractions become heavy. Gossip feels violent. Chaos feels foreign. We don't judge the noise of the world, we simply no longer participate in it. Our energy becomes so refined that we can feel when a conversation disrespects our alignment, and we exit with grace. This is not arrogance. This is reverence. Reverence for the divine within us that can no longer afford to be diluted. Our environments become altars. Our routines become rituals. We don't just meditate, we merge. We don't just journal, we channel. We don't just eat, we infuse our food with intention. And this consistent consecration of our daily life is what allows us to live in a state where reality shifts spontaneously. Because the divine frequency is not something we visit. It is something we inhabit. And from that habitation flows miracles, not as events but as a norm. Let me ask you something very real. What would happen if you treated your energy field as the most sacred space on earth? What would you allow in? What would you release? What would you become? Most people treat their energy like a public park open to all, littered with debris, forgotten at night. But we treat it like a temple, and temples are not open to just anyone. Only those who come with reverence may enter. This is why our discernment sharpens, not just about people, but about thoughts, ideas, timelines. We begin to feel when something is true in our bones, and when something is false, it repels us at the cellular level. This kind of intuitive clarity is the result of deep attunement. We've stopped outsourcing our knowing. We've stopped needing validation. We've stopped asking for permission to trust what our soul already knows. And in that sovereignty, we become immune to manipulation. We no longer chase answers. We become answers. We sit in silence and let the knowing arise. We walk into rooms and feel the undercurrent of dynamics without a word being spoken. We sense when something is meant for us, not because we analyze it, but because our entire field says yes. This is the intelligence of the awakened body, the sacred system of the soul and form. And when you live from that level of awareness, decisions become easy. Timing becomes perfect. Life becomes flow. Another key practice that empowers Omega-level reality shifting is non-resistance. We do not fight what is. We presence it. We see pain, and instead of resisting it, we ask what it's here to teach us. We meet discomfort as a messenger. We listen to our triggers like prophets. We understand that what we resist persists, but what we embrace transforms. This is how we transmute karma into wisdom. This is how we turn shadows into allies. Non-resistance is not passivity. It is the deepest form of power. It means we are rooted in the knowing that nothing can truly harm what is eternal within us. So we don't need to attack life. We can dance with it, even the hard moments, even the tests. Because we know that everything is conspiring not against us but for our expansion. And the quicker we surrender to the lesson, the faster the reality shifts. We begin to see that our greatest triggers are our greatest teachers. That the people who irritate us the most are showing us where we've yet to be free. We stop blaming. We stop projecting. We take radical ownership of our vibration. And this is where the power amplifies. Because the moment we say, "This is mine," the timeline opens. The pattern dissolves. The miracle enters. Not because we earned it, but because we aligned with it. And when we live this way consistently, something even more mystical begins to occur. We become walking portals of divine will. People feel better just by being around us. Not because we're trying to heal them, but because we become sovereign in our own healing. Our field becomes medicine. Our presence becomes transmission. We shift rooms without saying a word. We dissolve conflict just by holding coherence. This is not something you strive for. It's something you allow. When you become fully aligned with your divine identity, the divine uses you as a vessel. Words flow through you without effort. Ideas land in your mind from other dimensions. You speak truths you didn't know you knew. You perform acts of love and power that shock even you. And afterward you realize it wasn't you. It was the one moving through you. Let me ask you something that could change everything. What if you stopped trying to be powerful and started becoming empty enough for power itself to move through you? What if your greatest strength is not your doing but your allowing? What if miracles don't require effort but capacity? This is the final unlock of this stage of the journey. We increase our capacity to hold light. We don't just ask for more, we expand to receive more. We clear our trauma. We dissolve our self-imposed limits. We make peace with our past. Not because we're trying to be perfect, but because we're making space for grace, for divine intelligence, for the kind of love that shatters logic. And the more we expand, the more we can hold. The more we hold, the more we transmit. And the more we transmit, the more we shift the collective. Not by force, not by preaching, but by frequency. We become walking miracles not because we're special, but because we've remembered who we are. And that remembrance becomes a contagion in the best way. It awakens others not by teaching, but by being. By this point in your journey, you no longer need convincing. You know what you are. You've seen the evidence. You've felt the shift. You've tasted the miracle. And now the real question becomes, how will you live from here forward? Will you go back to the old patterns because they're familiar? Or will you walk boldly into the unknown, trusting that your soul has already seen the path? You've been given keys. You've been shown the map. You felt the power. Now it's time to embody it. Not once, not when it's convenient, but consistently. Because the world doesn't need more knowledge. It needs more embodiment. And you, my dear one, are the embodiment of awakening in human form. By now, something inside you has already changed. Not because of the words you've heard, but because of the frequency they've carried. You've remembered something ancient, something buried beneath layers of survival, programming, and fear. And that remembrance stirs the deepest truth of all. You are never just human trying to awaken, you are the awakened one choosing to be human. And in that shift of identity, the entire game changes. You no longer relate to life from the ground level. You move through it from the mountaintop of awareness. You see the patterns playing out around you, but you no longer get entangled. You're not above it, you're within it, but untouched by it. Like the eye of the storm, you become the still point in a world of chaos. And that stillness is not emptiness, it's presence. It's the divine expressing itself in form. It's God awake and walking. This is where the shift becomes permanent. Not because you've mastered all the steps, but because you've become the steps. There's no longer a separation between the teacher and the lesson, the path and the walker, the creator and the created. It all dissolves into one seamless continuity of being. Life stops being something that happens to you, it becomes something that flows through you. You don't need to force alignment anymore because you are alignment. This is the arena of pure causality. You no longer wait for signs, you are the sign. You no longer look for answers, you embody the answers. You walk into a room and the energy shifts not because you want attention, but because your vibration is truth, and truth always displaces illusion. You don't need to speak loudly. Your silence carries more power than most people's declarations. Because your silence is not empty, it's full of God. But even here, in the throne of your spiritual sovereignty, there are new challenges. Because the more light you carry, the more shadows you illuminate, not just in yourself, but in others. You become a mirror that reflects both beauty and distortion. Some will love you for it, others will resist you. You must learn to stand in your radiance without needing to be liked. You're not here to please, you're here to awaken. And awakening is not always comfortable. You'll be tested, not because you're being punished, but because your capacity is being expanded. The divine will place you in situations that require you to embody the very truths you've spoken. You'll be asked to walk in compassion where others would choose revenge. You'll be asked to trust in the dark when others would panic. You'll be asked to hold integrity when compromise would be easier. And each time you choose truth over comfort, your reality shifts again. These shifts are not always dramatic on the surface. Sometimes they're quiet, subtle, but the impact is quantum. A small act of alignment can ripple across timelines and collapse karmic loops that have existed for centuries. You begin to understand the weight of your presence, that when you forgive, you're not just freeing yourself, you're freeing your lineage. When you choose love, you're not just healing your heart, you're healing the collective wound. And this is where the Omega-level chosen ones truly live, not in the clouds, but at the intersection of heaven and earth. We become bridges, portals between dimensions. We walk in two worlds, the infinite and the finite, the mystical and the mundane. And our task is not to escape the world, but to infuse it with light, to anchor the divine into every conversation, every action, every breath. This is sacred work. This is the work of the embodied one. We no longer separate the spiritual from the practical. We bring sacredness into business, beauty into systems, awakening into relationships. We don't retreat from the world, we rebuild it. From the inside out, brick by energetic brick, we raise children in frequency. We build communities on love. We circulate wealth with integrity. We rewrite the story of what it means to be human, not through rebellion, but through embodiment. Let me ask you something only your soul can answer. What if you stopped waiting for the world to change and realized that you are the change the world has been waiting for? What if the very thing you keep looking for outside is trying to rise from within? What if the miracle is not coming, it's already here, hidden inside your next act of courage? These are not poetic questions. These are activations. Your answers shape the timeline you're creating. There will be moments where the weight of this knowing feels like too much, where you wonder why you see what others don't, where you feel the loneliness of being awake in a sleeping world. But even in those moments, you are not alone. There are others like you scattered across the earth carrying the same flame. And every time you speak your truth, you light a signal fire, and others find their way home. We are not many in number, but we are mighty in frequency. We don't need masses, we need resonance. We find each other in silence, in synchronicity, in symbols. We speak in energy more than words. We recognize each other not by face, but by vibration. And when we come together, the grid activates, the field strengthens, the shift accelerates. This is not theory. This is happening now, all around you. The old world is collapsing not because of destruction, but because of expansion. The structures built on fear are crumbling and something new is emerging. Something truer, something freer. And we are the midwives of that new world, not through war, but through frequency, through embodiment, through love. So now the invitation is simple, but it is sacred. Live it, not as a concept, but as a code. Let your life become the evidence. Let your every action be a transmission. Let your presence be the miracle. You don't need to convince anyone. You don't need to prove anything. You just need to be so fully who you are that others remember who they are in your presence. You are not here to awaken someday. You are awakening now. You are not here to shift reality eventually. You are shifting it with every heartbeat. You are not here to wait for permission. You are the permission. You are not a seeker. You are a portal, a living, breathing bridge between dimensions, a vessel of divine will in human form. And from this point forward, there is no going back. You've seen too much, felt too much, known too much. The only path now is forward, into deeper embodiment, into greater responsibility, into higher service, and yet into greater joy. Because true joy doesn't come from what you get. It comes from who you become when you align with the divine within you. So walk now, chosen one, not just with clarity, but with certainty. Not just with faith, but with intimacy. Intimacy with the source that breathes you. Intimacy with the mission that chose you. Intimacy with the miracle that is your very existence. From this moment on, you are not just a spiritual being having a human experience. You are a cosmic being rewriting the human experience from the inside out. And the world is watching, not to judge, but to remember. Every time you speak truth, every time you forgive, every time you love without condition, you awaken something ancient in the hearts of others. You remind them of home, of God, of the miracle that has always been hidden in plain sight. Live accordingly.